finally have a brand new LEGO Fortnite pass. This one is actually called the Brick or Treat, and as you can see, it is 58 days, which is significantly longer than the last one. We had the Tropical Treasures ones. So we obviously have our free track up top, and then the paid one on the bottom. So just starting off this, we have the Haunting of Llama Alley, then we have the Rest in Pieces, which is really funny. We have Carver's Kitchens, Ancient Dining, Discreet Details, Electrified Experiments, the Haunted Hearth, the Sanguine Splashery, the Slashing Pumpkins, the Ghoulie Game Room, and the Dump on Old Durrr Drive for the free one. And if we actually go down to the bottom, we can start with the paid tier, which is the Eyesore of Eerie Adventure. We have Frankie's Rest, we have Frankie's Laboratory, Frankie's Laboratory, the Creaker on Bleeker Street, Countess of Slumber, Countess of Lodging, Countess of Feasting, Countess of Cookery, Countess of Repose, and finally the Ruin of Royale. But now that we have the whole pass, let's actually go check out what this stuff looks like in game and decide if this is gonna be worth it or not. Going ahead and look in that fangerson. The skin does not look super bad at all. Like, I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, the mold on the head is really cool, and I really love that pink little fluffy tail. But like, this is what the normal skin actually looks like, and I really do like that actually does wag back and forth. Not a bad skin at all. The LEGO version just looks a little off. It's not my favorite skin, I'm not going to be wearing it, but I will say the details look really cool on it. And what's interesting about this pass is that unlike the others, this only has 4 main builds. When it comes to actually building this, it's really not hard at all. It literally uses all the same pieces we've had before because we didn't get any map changes. So overall, very enjoyable build, except for the freaking outline of the little stone at the very end. And we have the eyesore of Eerie Avenue complete. And this thing is actually really big. Like, as you can see, it has a really cool, like, cobblestone base. We have some nice greened out windows, and the weird thing about this is you actually can't see through these windows at all unless you have one of the broken ones, so that is a little interesting to me. I will say this thing is a pain in the butt to build. I don't know what's wrong with the game right now, but you could probably see it in the recording, but it kept freezing, and I turned my graphics all the way down, so I don't know if it's just somehow like a glitch in game when you're building in this right now, but it's really weird. But other than that, like, I will say this thing does look so cool. Like, again, this cobblestone base is really cool because it is raised off the ground, and it is sitting on some cobblestone as well, so if you're gonna use the prefab, you might want to for sure go ahead and actually take off all of this because the actual granite on the bottom looks horrible. But what's really cool is we have these nice little double doors widening up. The inside is this nice purple, like, aesthetic. It kind of honestly looks like the skin here, and it is very tight in here, kind of like, you know, just like a creepy little haunted house would be. But other than that, the pieces for this are exactly what you're going to find for everything else because it's, you know, there's not any updates or anything. But here is the really cool attic up top, and overall, the build itself is not bad. This was actually the easiest build of the bunch because it is all basically ground level. Doesn't have a whole bunch of other things. It has a lot of repeating steps, so you can literally just knock it out super duper quick. Honestly, this is my favorite one to build. And boom, the Dump on Old Durrr Drive is complete. And this one is kind of like a gazebo if it was haunted house theme. And this one is pretty cool because it literally has 4 entrances, and it is just all open air with those nice little green windows right here with the little purple aesthetic. And I really love this open air roof. There's really not much about this, but overall this is the smallest build, and it's not bad at all. Like, this is something that I would actually probably use the prefab and just place it in the center of my, like, haunted village or whatever. This would be a great place for, like, a town square or something. Honestly, as simple as this is, I really like it. When it came to building this kit, it wasn't hard at all because, you know, again, we're just using granite, like a ton of that, and it was a lot of repetitive steps because this thing is very big, and some of the steps can get a little bit hard at the end just because of the angles and how tall the pieces are that you have to get to. And boom, the Creaker on Bleeker Street is complete, and this one is absolutely huge. I mean, as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, and I guess technically 4 stories in this. We have the main part of the build, which is this really cool house. It has a couple of entrances. We have 1, 2, and 3 doors, and if we actually go inside of these, you can see all of them actually really congregate towards this little room. We have a nice little, like, I guess you could put like some furniture in there or whatever, but in here, as you can see, again, we just have all these really nice windows, and some of the windows aren't this like full-on green whatever stuff. You can actually see through some of these, but here's one of our staircases, and I will say there's not a lot of room in this prefab at all. But I mean, I guess that's not really what people are going to be going for in this. But this is very cool because, like I said, here's the third story and then technically the fourth right here if you want to do something with this. I will say what's really cool is since we are in the attic, the roof is actually black instead of like this purple vibe that we have throughout everywhere else. I will say this one is definitely my favorite one out of the bunch just because this one definitely reminds me more of a haunted house than anything else. I even love that the windows glow green. Our last build is the biggest one out of the bunch, and this one wasn't a horrible build, but it takes forever because there are a lot of pieces that go in here, and it again can get a little bit repetitive, especially towards the end when you're trying to like get some of the outline details where you have to go up and have to like go down all of a sudden. It can get a little annoying, but overall it was a decent build. And voila, the ruin of Royale is complete. And this one is the absolute biggest one out of the bunch, but it is not my favorite. This one is still my favorite. This one is just honestly another classic haunted house. And again, we have that nice little raised base with the really cobblestone right there. We have a lot of entrances here. We have a lot of windows when it comes up here. And we even have some like weather. I don't even know if these are necessarily called. Are these like the electric rods, whatever, that strike lightning to them? Anyways, this is a very huge house here, and it is a lot more open inside than any of the other ones honestly combined. Like all these rooms are absolutely massive. Again, these nice awesome windows, the purple coloring on the walls. We do have a staircase that leads up to the second room, and I really love these circular windows that we actually have on the side. I don't know why, it just looks cool, but we also have some balconies with some railings, some boarded up windows on the outside, and again, just look how expansive these rooms are. It's actually crazy. Like, it is so cool. The only thing is, I don't really know how you would actually get up on top of this roof unless you made another staircase to go up here, because you could totally have another room up here. So other than that, like, I do think that this build is going to be very cool to use. And now it's time to actually go over all the decorations. The first thing I want to go over are these really cool beds, and these are probably one of the coolest things out of the entire decor bundle. We have this really awesome kind of like skeleton bed that has a nice little skull with a bat on top of it, and then we actually have one of those like spiky torture beds. We have Dracula's coffin bed. Honestly, this one's the most normal one out of the bunch, except for this one that's kind of just like a little cot. But these are just like whatever beds. Here we actually have a straight up coffin bed, and this is literally an electric chair bed. Like, they're just, those are probably the most creative beds we've ever gotten in LEGO Fortnite, and I can honestly appreciate that. But going on over here, we actually have a lot of tables, and they actually feature a lot of these different types. They feature 3 different types of things, kind of this wooden thing, skeleton bob, and then the red, black, and white are going to be the vampire stuff. So we do have a lot of the skeleton ones with all the different sizes here. We even have a pool table, which I think is really cool because I'm surprised we've never gotten this before, but it's really weird that we got it in the spooky bundle, you know what I'm saying? I really will say I love the legs here. I love that that's a pumpkin, and I don't know what that's supposed to be, but I think it's cool. Here's a torture chamber, as you can see by the little dial right there. And again, I just really love how creative a lot of this stuff is. We even have some really cool bone mounts on the wall right there. And then heading on the inside, we actually have a few kitchen appliances. So we have all of the normal wooden sink areas, we have the vampire sink areas, and then kind of just like the coffin sink stuff with a working sink. And if going over here to the corner, you can actually see the light features. We do have a couple. On the outside, we actually have one that's really cool, and this one actually didn't fit inside, but this is actually going to feature a 2 light system here, one with a jack-o'-lantern, one with another jack-o'-lantern, and it does feature like 2 different colors here, so it's very asymmetrical in this sense. I don't really care for it, but I do know that it will look a lot cooler in a spooky vibe. We do have a lot more lights here. We have another jack-o'-lantern thing right there, another jack-o'-lantern lamp, and this is the same thing, it's just slightly smaller. And there's really not much difference between this other than this little base right here. But I will say those skeleton lights have always been my favorite. There have been a couple, especially like the power pack, where we actually ended up getting a skeleton light. Here's another one with the 3 candles, and here's a smaller one with the 3 candles, and here's one actually just on a normal table. And then going on to just the normal candle, that's there. There's another candle. And then here's just a normal light. It kind of looks like the electric chair light, in my opinion. But going on over here, we have a lot of seating options. So we do have 2 of the pumpkin chairs right here. The vampire seats. We have a skeleton seat. Whatever this thing technically looks like, I honestly don't know what this is. It kind of just looks like some random little like pink chair, which honestly I'm vibing with. But we have the vampire seats, the normal seats. And then we have the really cool toiletries. So we actually have the electric chair, seat, and toilet. The vampire seat and sink. And the literally an electric chair shower. Like, that's so interesting that they gave us that. We also have an acidic bathtub as well as a normal bone bathtub. And then going on upstairs, we actually can show off a couple more things. We have the dresser, we have a mini fridge, we have a legitimate, like, whatever this is supposed to be, maybe to make potions or whatever. A tea kettle, question mark? I honestly have no clue what this is, but this is a very cool furnace looking thing you can actually put some other decor on top of. Another little table you can actually use. A dresser that can stack. Here we have a spooky little ghost like popping out of a dresser. And speaking of that ghost, we actually have another one that actually is featured poking out of like an actual like wall decor art. Here's another shelf. This is actually an outside decor with like a dragon, which is very cool. That's interesting because it's the only dragon we have. Another skeleton rug, 2 pumpkin rugs, and just a bunch of other little random rugs. And I don't know what this is. I think it kind of, to me, reminds me of the new beetle that we're going to be getting at some point. But this is the craziest thing. My favorite decor out of the entire thing has to be this cobweb. It is so crazy that we've never gotten a cobweb before, but I really think that this is like the embodiment of this. It's not even an update, but more or less this little pass is literally this cobweb. I love it so much. But now let's go ahead and actually decide if this is going to be worth it or not, because we do have the 4 prefab builds. We have a lot of free build options when it comes to this. Like, there are a ton of pieces, a ton of decor, all for $1,400. So, you know, going over the actual prefabs, I gotta be honest with you, there's only one that really sticks out to me. Or actually, no, I'll give it 2, because I really like the gazebo and I really like this house. This is a little overkill to me, and this just is kind of lame. And one of the problems that I kind of have with this is that you can't see out of the windows. And I know it's not like a huge issue, but like, you know, as somebody that likes to see out his windows in the builds, they look cool. They really look cool at night, as you can tell right now. Like, you can see the glow a mile away. And in a spooky village, like, it actually makes sense. But I feel like it's gonna be a little bit harder to place these builds places unless you just put it off in like wherever you want to do it. Because we didn't actually get a map change with this. So we don't have a spooky island. We don't really have anything that really goes with this. We honestly just have the builds in this case. And like I said, the prefabs aren't bad. The actual building pieces are what make this the best, in my opinion, because this has significantly less builds than all of the other passes we've ever gotten before. But I think it makes up in the amount of decor that we get, because there is a dumb amount of decor that we get in this case. It's just, I don't know, the actual prefabs are just kind of lame to me, and I really don't like that they're raised off the ground. Like, I get why they're raised off the ground, but they're just not my favorite thing in the world. But for $1,400, I can honestly say that not too many people are going to probably be building a lot of these little spooky things. I'm going to be making myself a little spooky village, and I really wish that you could just go through and actually just get the decor. But, you know, again, it's $1,400 for literally all of this if you actually work towards it and, you know, gain all of your stuff and just buy, instead of just buying it all right off the bat. You know, the passes are always that thing where it's like, even though I might not like a lot of the stuff in here, there are a plethora of people that would jump at the opportunity to have this. Like, there's some people that love Halloween more than anything in their entire life. So this is right up their alley. And that's just not my type of vibe, but I really appreciate all the building parts, like especially just like the glowing aspect of everything. I'm excited to build some stuff with all of this. But, you know, with all of that being said, and especially with the decor being really cool, the pieces being really cool, maybe the prefabs aren't my favorite thing in the world, I do think this is going to ultimately be worth it. And so remember, you literally have 58 days as the recording of this video to actually get this pass done, and that is huge. So if you're going to be picking up this pass, first off, make sure you use code CJBrickles in the item shop. Seriously, thank you so much for watching the video, studs, and I will see y'all later.